It's training camp season. Today we're looking at the Carolina Panthers and getting a good look at Jimmy Horn. Roast some DBs, catch some balls, everything else. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking at training camp every day. We're looking at what your players are doing behind the scenes. We're looking at your rookies, position battles, and you're drafting some of these guys in fantasy football here soon. You need to know what they're doing behind the scenes on the field. It's all right here. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're talking about Jimmy Horn today. And he has been a major riser pretty much since his inception to the Panthers, really. Looking good rookie camp, OTAs, mini camp. Looking good in training camp. You're going to see it on some of these clips. The first, 5 are from yesterday. And then we got pretty much all of it. Everything I could find from training camp. And we're going to loop this and keep talking ball like we always do. This one was maybe from yesterday. But he was smoking yesterday. I looked at the clips from the 1v1s from yesterday. And he's very competitive with the top wide receivers on this roster. There's a lot of good competition on this roster at wide receiver. This team's having a little renaissance. And I don't think people want to give that credit right now. Bryce Young's looking good. Bryce Young's stepping up. They got T-Mac. That's going to be a great addition. Look at Jimmy Horn was just putting guys on skates, guys. Putting guys on skates. And he's been doing this the whole time. Carolina Blitz, shout out to them. There's Xavier Legette. He's the opposite of Horn. He's Big Horn. No. But Legette, nothing against him. But look at Jimmy Horn. Boom. Jimmy Horn's, it's fun. This one's from a few days ago. There's T-Mac. T-Mac is the fuel for all this fire. T-Mac is the fuel of the renaissance. Jimmy Horn's going to be your surprise over time. Hunter Renfro's had a good camp. He was back in pads yesterday. He's been out for a little bit. If you watched them 1v1s from yesterday, you'll see Jimmy Horn just torch. And he's been doing it all summer long. There he is, downfield. Looked good in the preseason game. He was getting targeted. Brought that in. He's very twitched up. Very cerebral. Canales in the interviews yesterday. They talk about him being down the depth chart. Canales says he's one of the first guys in the building, one of the last to leave, one of the hardest workers. Compared him to David Moore and how he was a later round pick and how hard he works in those regards. I just think Horn was, maybe due to the size, maybe due to a lot of people having Colorado bias against him, got overlooked by a lot of people in the draft process. He fell in the draft, and we knew he was going to fall in the draft. But you go back to the East-West Shrine game, and he was torching him and LeJontay Wester. The Colorado kids. And they were torching. And LeJontay Wester had that kick return for a touchdown in his preseason game. The Colorado kids are getting it done. That's the one thing. The Colorado kids are getting it done in preseason and in training camp this year. Just getting it done. And Jimmy Horn, just twitched up, hard worker, good route runner. Another thing, too, which is objective, which is not true analysis, but a thesis, that working at Colorado and getting all those former NFL players in there, left and right, coming in, working with them, just teaching them what it takes to be an NFL player, what it takes to get to their level, that they were at. It's not like they were jabroni NFL players, average guys, which there's no such thing as a jabroni NFL player, but former superstars, which there's levels to the game, and to get to that level, and they're teaching little intrinsic things. So you're seeing that in his work ethic, the development, and all that. And you see this with these wide receivers here. You're seeing it with LeJohntay. You're seeing it here with Jimmy Horn. Travis Hunter has been playing both ways at camp with Jacksonville, which is very hard. I mean, it is hard to do. I mean, but you're looking at this. Shedur's had a good camp. Look at the hands. Look at the hands. The Colorado kids. He's going to make this team. They're going to figure out a way to get him on the 53. He's going to make this team. This depth chart's been very competitive at wide receiver. I know there's people on Twitter and stuff questioning it. They're looking at the names. Like, he's been too good at training camp. Everybody knows he's been great at training camp. Everybody in the NFL knows he's been great at training camp. If I can pull these clips and know, all the teams in the league know. It's not like it's a secret. If I can pull these clips and tell you, and it's not just these, minicamp OTAs, if I can do that, they got even more. They got even more. And if for some reason they put him down to the practice squad, he's gone. He's gone. He's going to make the 53 because they can't let him go to the practice squad because he gone. He gone. He gone. Someone going to snatch him. Somebody going to snatch him. It ain't going to work out that way. If you want to keep him, you better just put him on the 53. He's going to make the 53 because he's that good. He is turning heads in camp right now. He is looking solid. You just have him stacked up with some of the other wide receivers, and he's making plays. Now, some of you guys come here for the fantasy football analysis. That being said, the redraft wise right now, out of the scope, watching the Panthers throughout the season, that man right there, T-Mac, is the guy you're paying attention to. 5 targets in the last game. He had 2 targets where he shouldn't have been targeted, but they're funneling it to it. Especially Darnold on that one rollout. He had a DB underneath to the side, one over top. Darnold probably should have either kept it, threw it away, or whatever. He tried to force it in there. Because when T-Mac's covered, he's open. The quarterbacks know that. They know that. And they're going to be forcing it to him. That's going to help the other wide receivers too. Because he's a magnet for the football when the ball's in the air. That's going to help this offense. We talked about Xavier Legette earlier. You guys drafted him in the first round. I think him and T-Mac, that is going to create problems in the red zone. Because T-Mac, you can do a couple different things. You can do a lot of different things. But you can do posting up at back pylon, fade route, power on the slants with that reach. And then while you're doing that, you got to make that defense think now. Crossers over the middle, Xavier Legette with that 4.3 speed and size. Crossers over the middle. You just pick your poison there and what you want to cover, what you want over top. And then Adam Thielen, still being tricky out there. Jimmy Horn's very tricky. So eventually, Adam Thielen's going to have to move on. Older wide receiver, maybe stays by a year basis, but eventually Father Time's going to say, nah. Jalen Coker had some catches. David Moore makes plays. You got to think about this. This is a very competitive wide receiver depth chart. I told you that this team's having a little renaissance. And that's a good thing. They're having a little renaissance. And I've said it before that the Carolina Panthers is probably going to be the old school Randy Orton of this NFL. Because they're going to come in and beat some teams they shouldn't. They're going to go on a run. And they're going to surprise a lot of those people who ain't deeply entrenched in paying attention to them. They're going to surprise some people. They're going to surprise big media this year. The Carolina Panthers are going to be a surprise this year. And it's going to be fueled. Started off with the addition of T-Mac. They're deeper at running back, adding Rico. The Rico and Chuba show just sounds like a show to watch. Like with those two names. Rico and Chuba, I love it. I love it. I think Jimmy Horn's going to be a great asset for this team, though. He's going to be a great role player starting off, and he's going to build, and he's going to build. And as the pass attempts, the fuel of the offense opens up, he'll be more productive. He'll ramp up everything else. Right now, things are very competitive. But the main take is he's torching everybody. He's getting open. He's twitched up. Also gives you something different compared to other wide receivers. He can be in the slot. You can move him outside. T-Mac over top. Xavier Legette on the crossers. More twitched up than Hunter Renfrow. More quicks. In and out of the breaks. More sudden. Still, they're both nuanced technical route runners. Thielen's technical, but he gives you the twitchiness. He gives you the ball skills. Coker's good. Coker's good. Coker's a good wide receiver. I don't want Panthers fans on here with Coker in the back of their head thinking I forgot about. Coker's good. Coker's a breath of fresh air. That's what Coker is. Coker comes in and say you got a DB over the top, over by T-Mac, Xavier Legette, you run him on his cross or whatever you're doing, out whatever, and it's just not materializing. Coker's going to get it for you. Coker's going to get it done. And having T-Mac there, that's going to help these other wide receivers. The other wide receivers on this team, that's going to help Bryce Young so much. Jimmy Horn's going to develop. He's working hard. Things are sounding good. And I believe he should have been drafted higher. Some other team should have swooped in and drafted him a couple rounds earlier, a round or two. I think that was a mistake by the NFL. I think that was a mistake. We saw it in the Shrine Bowl practices. We saw that. We saw that coming. We knew one of those Colorado kids, him or LeJohntay, were going to torch. We knew this was coming. We knew this. It was too evident. It was too evident. We knew this from watching Colorado. But the thing is, it's like, that's the paper. And you got the paper, you're like, okay, I got the document, here it is. But when you get in those all-star games against the top-level competition on that paper, that's the stamp. The stamp got put down. And when the stamp gets put down in those moments, the odds are very good. The odds are very good you're getting something out of those players at the NFL level. Notice I didn't hyperbolize that by saying superstar or anything. You're going to get something out of him. You're getting something out of him. If he does not make the 53, he ain't staying long. He's making 53. He's making the 53. Some people be like, well, duh. Well, that's because you've been entrenched with the Panthers. You got to understand, there's people on Twitter not paying attention. Not paying attention at all. They're looking at the names on here from last year. They're like, how's this going to work out? How's this? Like, no, he ain't staying. They know he ain't staying. He ain't staying. Someone's going to pluck him. He's too good. He's too good. He's making too many waves. Jimmy Horn's getting it. He's been getting it good. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.